Hi, everyone.
Hello, it's Sue.
And T.
You're tuning in with us for episode, what is this, 10 now?
10.
We made it to the big 10.
I know. I'm so excited.
I know.
Can you believe that we
Exit
just said
your 9 to 5, 10 episodes later? This is so awesome.
we sat, we came, we sat, and we said, let's do it, and we've done it, and now it's turned into 10 episodes. So
10.
We're so happy, and we're so happy for all of the feedback that we get from you guys. Thank you for tuning in. We reached the highest broadcast that we had last week. We had a total of 300 viewers. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're glad that you found following up to be a helpful episode.
Yeah. And I think that's because they were following up.
Yeah. Following up.
We're following up to see if you followed up. And now that we followed up and you followed up, we're ready to dive into our next episode.
That's
that
right.
is one of the most important episodes, I feel like, because exiting your 9 to 5, you're literally jumping into your own venture, your own business,
Absolutely.
your own brand,
Huge decision.
whatever business decision you're like attempting to try. And you've got to make that decision like a boss.
Like a boss.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the difference between making a decision like me versus like a boss?
Because when you're a boss, you're kind of like, the decision runs through me and it ends with me.
Hey.
And you're not questioning yourself, because if you were sticking with us through the confidence series, you should have the confidence in you to make this decision like a boss now.
100%.
Totally.
So should we just dive in?
Let's dive in.
I'm
Let's
ready.
dive in.
Tip number 1 for decision making like a boss would be know that everything has to go through you and you choose how you'd like for things to be done.
Yeah.
So being a boss means that you need to know what needs to be done, how it needs to be done, and how you would prefer it to be done for the greatest level of efficiency. And that's hard to do sometimes because we're constantly trying to accommodate others. But someone needs to know what's going on. Someone needs to know how to set the tone and the pace of things. Makes sense, right?
And I mean, and the craziest part is, like, remember when you were doing the 9 to 5 and you always had that manager or that executive who, that term executive decision comes from somewhere. It comes from the corporate world.
Yeah.
So now that person is you. So you've got the responsibility to make that executive decision. And, you know, it's a lot, but you planned for this and you're ready for this. That's why you are the one that's going to be able to make those decisions, you know. So it's a lot of work, but if you practice, you'll get there. You'll get to the point where you can make these decisions.
Absolutely, because you've already gotten this far. So you've started a business, you've nurtured that business, you're doing all of the steps that you need to do to ensure that you're succeeding. Decision making is just another part of that. So you want to make sure that you are taking time out to really consider what's going on in the business.
Yeah.
And consider that you are the one ultimately that will be leading the business into the next direction. So there is no getting out of this decision-making thing. You have to learn how to process it, which brings us to tip number 2.
Yeah.
If you are too busy and you need help, you need to learn how to delegate. Tip number 2 is know when to delegate. Delegate. Teach someone how to run the business.
Exactly.
And tend to the major tasks.
I mean, because the thing is, you may sit here and think, like, I've got to make all the decisions. It might be quite a bit overwhelming. Yes, it's going to be overwhelming at first. But because you're walking through the process and you're getting through all of these things, it's going to become easier. Because if you know that I've made this decision for this item, the next time that decision comes around, you're going to make the same decision. Again, it's seamless. So knowing when to delegate means, like, it's not like, oh, I'm going to give all my responsibilities away.
Balance, honey.
You know when to balance. Like, do you need to know that you guys need to order new paper clips for your company or whatever? No, you don't. You don't need to know that. Just say, hey, T, when the paper clip runs out, go order a brand new box or something like that. It's just common sense. But you've got to give whoever you're working with the confidence to be able to make that decision too. Like, all those philosophies you live by, kind of pass it on. You're the leader. You're leading them to make the right choice, sound decisions. So knowing when to delegate is sharing your tasks so you don't spread yourself thin.
And making that time out to teach people efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of the times, and I'm guilty of this, is that how we do business here at our company is we only work with people who are excellent within their craft. So a lot of our team members are indeed that. So
they call them specialists.
Specialists, exactly. And so as a business owner, yes, you want to have as many specialists, but you also need to know how to duplicate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to need to take the time out to teach that individual what needs to be done, why it needs to be done, and specifically, even more so, why it needs to be done in the exact way that you're teaching them. For me, I'm a particular person, and so everything has a reason as to why it's done that way. So I know delegating it should be as easy as saying, okay, go do this, and the person should be able to do it. Yes and no. When choosing to teach someone something, you have to put aside that time and you have to be conscientious, knowing that this person is going to be an extension of you. So take your time and do it right and train them so that you can ensure that you're getting the best result.
Right.
Which leads us to tip number 3. Take your time when decision making.
Don't rush into it.
No, you
don't
cannot.
Rush into it.
There's just too many moving factors sometimes. So I know some things we're supposed to be able to answer right then, right away.
But we're talking about major decisions.
Exactly.
We're talking about decisions that could affect your company, your business, your brand, your livelihood, those type of decisions. Like, you don't need to sleep on it and wait 24 hours to decide whether you're going to order some more paper or more supplies to keep the business going. You don't need that. You're going to need to do it, and make that decision. Now, if you have to make a decision about, taking on a new client or maybe working with a new vendor or working with, new materials or new products, at that point, then you might want to think about it, because there's always a cost involved. You're going to have to pay for it. Or if it's not, you don't have to financially pay for it, you're going to have to worry about the relationship that comes with it. Like, am I going to burn my bridges should this relationship not work out, or should this situation not work out? So what we'd like to do is, when they say sleep on it, it really means sleep on it. Like, take some time out and just think about it. Like, don't stress yourself out for the next 12 hours and say, oh my God, whether I'm going to do this or not. Just say, hey, take a break. If you're going around in circles. Don't worry. Yeah. Just chill. Sleep on it. You're going to wake up. And if you still feel like the same way you did yesterday, then it probably may be a good idea or probably may not be a good idea. And at that point, you
That's
proceed
how I gauge my
accordingly.
Decisions.
Yeah.
I gauge all my major decisions by sleeping on it. And I'm usually a person who knows myself well enough to know, like, oh, this is something that I would say an absolute yes to, or this is something that I would say an absolute no to. Sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you have to be open-minded to the opportunities that are brought before you so that you could really see how that is in alignment with where you're trying to go. So if you're not trying to go there, then it's going to be a hard no, but always give yourself at least 24 hours
to make a decision.
Exactly.
And that's why it's kind of like, it's okay to assess those. That's why we're saying take those time on those big decisions, because our next thing that we're going to dive into is not every opportunity is the right opportunity for you.
No. Even if the price is right,
it may not be the right opportunity for you. No. And it's okay to walk away from opportunities that are not right for you. It may not be a good fit. Yeah. Or it may not be right for you at this particular time. You may want to revisit it in 6 months or a month or whenever, but maybe and then if that's the case, it's okay to say no.
Yeah. And you have to be able to ask yourself those hard questions to find out what opportunities you should be accepting and which ones you should be rejecting. Like I said, I don't jump at money. No. We work in an industry where people are like, okay, let me just pay you, and let me pay you the largest sum of money. And what I've learned is that sometimes is your ticket to enslavement. So you have to have your boundaries, and you have to know, like, for instance, that no, give me my 24 hours, and no, this opportunity may not be a good fit, so I'm going to pass on this for now. You know what I mean? Have that confidence within yourself, because money will bring you just as much stress as having no money. So you want to make sure all of your business dealings and the relationships that you're entering in on behalf of your business are those in which stand in alignment with your personal goals and values, because if not, you're going to have a major conflict.
Right. And if that opportunity is not right for you, after you've thought about it, slept on it, then it's not right. And that leads us to the next item, which is, don't burn your bridges.
No.
You know, when you're getting ready to say no or
Have
turn
integrity.
an opportunity down,
yes.
you can't just say no, I'm not going to work with you and just keep it moving. You have
because I don't really like you.
Yeah, whatever the case may be, you want to be, kind and diplomatic and political about it, because again, you never know who they may know, and you don't want word to get around that oh, Sue's an asshole, or T's she's so difficult to work with, or you don't want those people to get back to the industry and those rumors spread, because that opportunity may not work for you.
But you also don't want to operate out of fear, which is why I said the more you raise your frequency and the more that you get clear on the direction that you want to go, a lot of things would just begin to eliminate themselves and fall off by the wayside.
Right.
One of them being unproductive relationships. And so, like Sue says, you don't want to be an asshole. You don't want to be mean. You want to be diplomatic and political, but at the same time, you want to honor yourself and not bend over backwards.
Exactly.
So you want to know, like, what it is that you value and why you value that, so that you're able to turn things down effectively without being rude. Because in this world, we're learning with technology that it's getting smaller and smaller.
Super.
To the point where I even seen a new app that's coming out, and the app basically it allows people to, it's like a Yelp for a human being.
See,
not like
terrible.
Not Yelp for businesses, but if someone can say, I can attest that T is a bad person, and on this day, and it's a social media site, and it connects with your Facebook. So you want to be careful about how you're treating people, and not with an intention of, well, they might write something about me. You just want to be a good person.
Right.
If you're in business, that means you have the aptitude to serve. That means you have a heart to serve and provide some things to people, and that's going to take patience, and that's going to take understanding, and it's also going to take a good attitude, and people always respond to good attitudes. So if that's not something you're willing to do right now, then you may want to hold off, because you can burn bridges, because people are hypersensitive to energy and how people can sense your spirit before you even speak. So people know something's going on with you, and if you know you're not there, or it's not a good day, you may want to pass on certain opportunities so that you can still stay in the best light. And so don't burn any bridges would be tip number 5.
And the thing about that is, it's like, on top of burning bridges, you want to make sure that you the reason why we say that is because, remember when we said, circle back to the whole, the decision might not be right for you at this time, or something like that? Well, guess what? It may not be right for you at this time, but you don't want to ruin the opportunity for 6 months later, where it may be the right opportunity.
That's true.
So that's why you're kind of like, be polite. Like, you just tell them, hey, keep it honest. Like, hey, I want to work with you, but at this time, I don't think it's the right fit, or, this time it's not the right opportunity for my company or my brand, but let's revisit in a month or 6 months. Because that way they're kind of like, oh, you have integrity. You kind of, you gave me an honest answer, and then now I'm going to follow back up with you in a month or 6 months when you're ready to get started, or they're going to follow up with you. They know that, it's a no right now, but it might not be a no forever.
So true. And the way to help do that is by, bonus tip, making your pros and cons list. Like I said, in entrepreneurship, you do not have to be desperate. And so, like I said, I don't want to put so much pressure on not burning bridges to the point where you can't stand up for yourself.
Right.
Because that's important too. People, like I said, they will try you. They will try to see what you will allow them to get away with. So what you want to do is you want to assess the pros and the cons on every circumstance, every client, all of those things. Because what that will do is it'll help you get even more clearer. For me personally, when I write things out and I can see it, I'm just kind of like, okay, I see where that's not helpful, but this is helpful. That same process is just as effective, writing the pros and the cons, because that will help you with your decision making as well.
That's if you're having trouble making those decisions.
Exactly.
So your action item is make your decision on when you're going to exit your 9 to 5 and when you're going to start that exit strategy.
Something better, better.
So with that being said, of course, as always, we thank you for joining us on the Exit Your 9 to 5 podcast. Make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud. We're on all 3 platforms.
That's right.
And if you want to check what we're doing during the week, Follow us on social media. We're on every platform, minus the LinkedIn at this time. But we've also got the website. If you don't know what it is, it's goldvandigital.com.
That's right. And get that free toolkit. We're offering your free exit strategy toolkit. So if you're not sure how you should be processing the decision, we have some helpful tools within there that will help you get clear on that.
All right. Stick around. Stay tuned. We'll see you next week.
Hi, guys.